can. So one of the really common responses I get when people learn about the Signs of Kindness Project is, that's really cool that you're doing that, and even, oh, it really makes me happy when I see your signs, but I could never put one in front of my house. And there's two different reasons why, main reasons why I see that being the response. I want to just address them both. The first one is, it's like, it's just a really practical, like, I live in an apartment, I have no yard to put a sign on. Or I live on a dead-end street, I'm not sure very many people would see it. Or sometimes this is a little bit beyond the scope of this video, but sometimes it's like, I'm not sure. It's like, I don't know that I want to, I'm not sure whether it would be safe. Like, would that be taken as some kind of statement against somebody who would get offended? Like, and I don't want to take that risk. And some people also just don't really want, it's like, I don't want to be public. I don't want to necessarily let the world know that this is where I live. And all of those, fine, great. And this is, figure out what works for you. I'll say, if any of those are your situation, it is still very easy to participate in the Signs of Kindness Project, and you can do it in many different ways. One is to, like, adopt an area. So if you buy a sign, you have it shipped to you, but then you look around your town and you look for a space where where a sign could be of benefit. Where do people pass by a lot? Is there an intersection, or a particular roadway, or some lot somewhere, or or school grounds, or I don't know. Think about it for yourself, about where you live, and think about where the signs could be of benefit, and be sort of the angel donor for that location. It's like, adopt a location, right? So take your signs and you put them there, and you could pick one. Or I have a couple friends actually who they bought signs, and then they're kind of moving them around town, and they'll spend a certain length of time here, and then they'll move them to a new place there. And so it can even just become this fun project, either for you or your family or a group of people, to spread these messages around town without it coming back to, like, your front yard, or your place where you just couldn't put them in the first place. The other way you can participate is to sponsor a sign for somebody else. So you could either think of somebody who might want them, and offer to buy for them if they want them, or you can go through my website, signsofkindness.org, and buy a pay it forward sign, which is basically a sign or a set of signs you choose, to somebody who wants them. And I'm kind of constantly looking out for opportunities for people in places who could make good use of the signs. And sometimes people come to me and say, hey, I'd like a sign, but I can't fund it for XYZ reason. And so I make those matches. And so that's a totally legitimate way, again, to contribute to the project and have your energy in it, without some of the logistical concerns that you might have. So all those would be amazing and certainly received with gratitude by me and whoever experiences your signs. I do want to say just one thing about the other piece that I think is in the mix for some people, because I experienced it too. So I had this idea, like, this is a great idea. I want to put, I think my first sign I got, it was a two-sided. There was a "You Are Loved" on one side and a "You Are Needed" on the other. And I remember ordering it, and I got it in the mail, and I was so excited, and I was like, okay, time to go plant this in my yard. And I remember this moment of, like, panic, like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is so weird. And, like, what are people gonna think? And oh, this is it was like very vulnerable and scary for me. And I had to remind myself that this is not about me. This is not about some kind of virtue signaling thing about how, look at me, I'm so great. It's not about, or look at me, I'm so weird, or I'm so inappropriate, or whatever people might think about somebody who has a sign out there. Like, that's not what this is about. And if you're thinking about it that way, it could get really, really scary. You know, our brains do very funny things when we're worried about whether we're going to fit in, or whether we're going to be judged or rejected or whatever. But you switch that over to, well, what's my goal in the first place? Like, why do I even care? And when I switched over to, oh yeah, I'm starting to picture like the people who walk by my house and the people who drive by my house, and what will it be like for them to see this "You Are Loved" sign, and will that make them smile, and what might that do for their day, and just remind myself that it's not about me, and it's about what is my intention, what is my hope for the people who pass by, what's the possibilities do I see, and for me, making that switch from this is about me and my ego trying to prove something and defend against something, versus this is me and my generous spirit trying to offer something humbly, knowing that it may or may not always be received in the way that I intend, but that's still okay. Like when I made that switch, a huge burden was lifted off of me. So I offer that in case you're in less the sort of logistical challenging place and more in the just, oh, I don't know, that seems scary place. Because as much fun as it is for me to be doing this myself, there's a lot of joy to be had for other people, I think, to be stretching themselves a little bit in this way and participating. And certainly the more people who are willing to do that, the more power this project is going to have, and the more ripples that it's going to have. So I invite you to not only appreciate that this is happening, but if you do appreciate that it's happening, really think about how you can participate too, because I guarantee that will bring something back into your life that will feel wonderful. Thanks.